Hello, it's March 28th, 2016. I want to talk a little bit about my dad on this segment. My dad, Jose Daniel Ernesto Martinez. His name was kind of always messed up growing up. We didn't really find out his real name until later in life when we got a hold of his birth certificate. He always went by Daniel Jose, but he had more names. So he grew up in New Mexico, and he was a hard worker. And he worked on the railroad the whole time I was cognizant as a child. He worked on the railroad, and that was hard work. Around our house, he would try to do lots of home repairs and different things like that, and he just didn't really know how. I remember he wanted to put stucco on that house built in 1888, and he really didn't know how, but he knew how to make cement. And so he just basically mixed up cement, and we had to help, and he would do the best he could, and he'd put the cement on the house. And it looked pretty bad. So then we painted it, and painting he could do. We put wallpaper in our kitchen, and we used flour as the glue. Well, just flour and water. And so we ended up putting several layers of that, and it became a nightmare to try to get rid of it later on. Working on cars to save money. Did that, and so he's pretty good at changing oil and stuff like that. But I remember one time we spent a long time putting extra springs on one of the trucks because he wanted to have a camper shell on there and needed stronger springs. And so rather than take them all off and buy a stronger set of springs or adding coil springs, somehow he got some metal, and we had to unband the leaf springs that were there and try to fit another one in there. That was a lot of work, and I just couldn't figure out for the life of me what he was trying to do. But it worked. So I have to give him high marks for trying things. He just didn't really know how and didn't really get the training as a child to know how certain things worked. Whatever training he had on how things worked, I think he got in the military or on the railroad. On the railroad, he knew his way around. Boy, we could change rails and switches out like nobody's business. It was like a science. He just knew exactly what to do. He was rough. And I don't know if he was rough because of his rough childhood, and he was just uncertain and didn't really have a good father himself, or if the alcohol that he was addicted to just had made him mean. But he was a pretty mean father. Had lots of whoopings, and his boot kicked my backside more than once. He would get mad at us for just, I don't know, maybe we messed up a lot, I don't know. But he'd get mad at us. I think he would get mad when he was frustrated. And then some of my friends would come around and talk me into leaving before the garden was finished weeding, and I'd get in trouble for that kind of stuff. But he was always finding work for us to do. So the greatest thing I think that my father gave me was the work ethic. That guy worked hard and was always wanting to work. And, you know, we kids started to work. I told you, picking cherries when I was 4, all the way through high school, and I always just had some kind of job. And that was a good thing that he gave us, that ability to work, or that desire to work and know what hard work was and what it felt like. It's harder for kids these days to get that because we don't live in an agrarian society. But I'm glad that I got it. And it helped me with school as well. Just you stick to it, you work at it. Helped me on my mission. I just climb stairs all day and knock on doors all day and not get really that tired. You know, we'd come home exhausted and stuff, but not to the point where I wanted to give up. I worked most of my companions into the ground. And part of that was, you know, in wrestling, I really was in great shape, and then had grown up working hard. So after my dad passed, thought about doing his temple work, and I hate to admit it, and I've written this, you guys can read this later, I've written this story, but I just didn't think that he would ever accept the gospel on the other side. Well, that was my mistake. At the beginning of 2014, he and my mom came to me at work and basically were saying, help us. And as I got up from my work desk and walked to the bathroom, I'm sitting there asking, why me? And the response was really, really clear. Who else would we ask? And as soon as I got that response, I knew what they wanted. They wanted temple work done. I was wrong about him. And the second part, when I was a background actor, I met a guy the first day that we were there, and we were talking. I was kind of telling him my story about my dad, and he told me a story from Truman G. Madsen that just really touched my heart, and it changed me a little bit. I wasn't to judge him. It sounds like Josh is coming home, so I'll probably wrap this one up. Hey, Josh.
Hi, Papa.
I wrapped it up.
Okay.